Hey, LinkedIn family, good morning. This is Paulo here. Before I start my day, I've been reflecting recently, and I want to start this about my African name, right? And by the way, the reason I came to this realization is I've been thinking a lot about my African identity, my Africanness, okay? And I came to realize that you don't have a hard time um, identifying someone from Germany or from Poland or from China, right? It's easy by looking into their name. You can easily know that. But when someone looks at my name, especially how I am known, most people call me Paulo, which is a Portuguese name. Automatically, people assume that I am either from Portugal or from Brazil, right? Which is not the case. I'm from Angola. I'm African, right? And how I ended up with people calling me by my last name, it's a funny story. When I moved to the United States, okay, it's happened that a lot of people had a hard time calling me by my first name, which is Luntadila. Okay, so to accommodate, people would call me by my last name, Paulo. And as time went by, the name, my last name, kind of just got stuck there. And now most people in the US call me Paulo. Okay. And I want to make this video to correct that. I'd prefer if people would call me Luntadila. Okay. Again, Luntadila. And it's a beautiful name. It's an impactful name. It has a meaning. It tells my family story. It tells my people's story. Okay. And by using my colonial, we don't, according to my family stories, we received that last name Paulo based on the story goes like this. My family used to, my great grandparents were baptized by the Baptist missionary, and my great grandfather received the name of Paul or Paulo in Portuguese, right? Who was a missionary, right? Nothing bad, right? Paul was a prolific historical figure in the Christian world, and they received his name. So that process, I believe, across the Americas, the same thing happened. The missionary would convert people and name them after European names, right? But when we come back to these, what we're seeing is the fact that, you know, your name tells your story, tells your identity. For example, my first name Luntadila, my father was named by his parent Luntadila because my grandmother, after he had after getting married, she had a difficult time conceiving. When he finally had the first child, who was my father's older brother, they were thrilled, but they stayed, I believe, a period of more than 5 years, which at that time was very unusual before they would conceive my father, right? And Luntadila means will look at you expecting to receive something, right? So that's kind of the translation there. And many African names have really strong stories, strong reasoning, right? It tells our story, our identity. And for so long, I believe this is not only my case, there are so many other people who, when come to the United States, feel obligated to change their name, right? To accommodate the American culture. I believe what makes American culture so incredible is the fact that, we call it the melting pot, right? Meaning that everybody is welcome. It doesn't, irrespective of your identity, your culture, your background, you are accepted as you are, right? And I want to redeem this part of my life and my story, right? So from today on, I'd like for people to call me Luntadila, okay? If you're part of my network, happy to teach you how to pronounce Luntadila, right? But if you're watching this video, I encourage you, if you're an African, to redeem yourself, right? Go back to your African name. Look, I wish, my parents would have named me Luntadila Sankara Lumumba, something like that, or Luntadila, Lumumba Mandela, something like that. Because I admire, I believe in the African culture. We have very strong examples of brave men and women who we can name our children after if we aspire to build a Pan-African identity, right? So I'm gonna stop here. It's been great to connect again here, and I wish everybody a good start of the day. Oh, of course, speaking of from the United States perspective, if you're elsewhere, good afternoon, good evening, and have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you. Ciao.